welcome to part 2 of our James Bond pre-title sequence countdown. Today we're getting into the top 12 and I'm going to be salivating a lot as we go through these because we've got some stunning sequences to get through today. If you put all these action sequences back to back in one long roll of film, I think I would explode with excitement. It's that good. So let's find out what's at number 12. We have Goldfinger. I say that and then I get into one which is not really about the action but just about how cool Bond is. He takes off his wetsuit and he's got this tuxedo. Strike 1 for coolness. Then he does this thing where he's lighting his cigarette just as the bomb's going off. Strike 2 for coolness. Then he goes in this hotel room and he's got this woman right there waiting for him, just ready to drop a towel for him. Strike 3 for coolness. And then he has this fight with this guy where he throws him in the bath and has the presence of mind to just swipe this lampshade in there to electrocute him just before he gets shot. Swipe 4 for coolness. It just goes on and on and on. It's brilliant. So Goldfinger comes number 12. And all this happens in about 2 minutes flat. Number 11, we've got Die Another Day. This is probably the highest you'll ever see Die Another Day on any Bond rankings because the pre-title sequence is actually pretty good for this film. And then after that, it kind of slowly gets worse and worse as the film goes on. But I really like this, all this stuff with the hovercrafts and Bond infiltrating this South Korean base. It was all really good. It does end on a bit of a downer with Bond getting caught, but it didn't depress me as much as Bond falling off the train in Skyfall. I think Bond still beats this guy in this opening. It just so happens that he gets caught after he's won his little battle, if you see what I mean. So almost made the top 10 this. That would have been an upset, wouldn't it? But what did make the top 10? Let's find out. We've got A View to a Kill. I'm probably on my own with this one. A View to a Kill was my childhood Bond film, so I've got a lot of affection for it. So I'm always likely to rank it up a little bit, maybe. But this snow sequence is maybe a little bit too soon after The Spy Who Loved Me to do another one a bit like this. But it's just really good. I actually love the Beach Boys thing. I know some people don't. And then the rest of the soundtrack that accompanies the action is really good. There's loads of little bits where Bond hooks this guy's he puts a hook on this guy's back and it pushes him off this cliff. Fires a flare into this guy's helicopter. And then at the end of it, he escapes on this moving iceberg, which just happens to have this really hot blonde in it that he immediately starts sleeping with. Just brilliant, Roger. Great, great stuff. Right, number 9, we've got The Living Daylights. This was Timothy Dalton's introduction to the role. And actually, this was my first Bond film at the cinema when I was 7 years old. So what you're seeing on this screen here was the first action that I ever saw in the cinema of James Bond doing his thing. And the mountains of Gibraltar make a really good setting for James Bond to chase a bad guy. He gets on the back of this Jeep and there's this thumping soundtrack and then the Jeep goes over the cliff. There's a big explosion. Bond gets another girl at the end of it just randomly. So all good stuff. Number 8, we've got Quantum of Solace. I love this one. Not a well-loved film, but this opening, it's really short, a bit like the Goldfinger one, but it starts off with this slow panning shot across this lake that's interspersed with these shadowy shots of wheels moving. You're like, what's going on? And then suddenly you realise that Bond's in a chase sequence already. It's straight into action in like 3 seconds. It's just really, really good. I mean, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift has got nothing on this. The way these cars are swiveling in the gravel as they go into this kind of pit type place, it's brilliant. And then you've got these bad guys who are just constantly up Bond's arse. They've got all these heavy duty machine guns and they're not shy in using them. And the way this ends, the way Bond takes these guys out, there's nothing cheesy about it. It feels really realistic. There's no one-liner. And then after all that, Bond opens the boot and it turns out Mr. White's been in there the whole time. Just brilliant. And all this takes place in about 3 minutes. It's just absolutely fantastic. Number 7, we've got The World Is Not Enough. And I kind of feel like this one cheats a bit because it's sort of 2 sequences slapped together. And this is the longest James Bond pre-title sequence. It blew me away when I saw it in the cinema. I can't even tell you how this made me feel in the cinema when I saw this one. Over time, it's kind of, the more you see it, the less effectual it gets. But still, you've got the whole scene in the Bilbao office. And then you've got this chase sequence near the Millennium Dome. The pre-title should have ended after the Bilbao sequence, but I guess they felt that maybe it wasn't spectacular enough. And like I said, it is cheating a little bit. I mean, what's to stop you sort of putting your title song 5 minutes from the end of the film and going, I win, I've got a 1 hour, 45-minute pre-title sequence. So, but it's still great. So number 7. Right, we're into the top 6. And we have at number 6, we've got Spectre. And this one, you've got this incredible one-take shot of Bond walking through this crowd. It's just, he's got this skull mask on, so you're not sure it's him, but you sort of think it probably is. And then he goes up this lift in this to the top floor of this hotel type place, and then comes out and starts walking back along this ledge, and you're just thinking at this point, wow, this is great. And then eventually he gets down below and has this fight on this helicopter with these two guys, and the helicopter's spinning around and around. Regardless of what you think in terms of this film not being as good as Skyfall, I really think this opening is at least better than the Skyfall opening. It's really good. Right, into the top 5, we have Goldeneye, and what's not to love about Pierce Brosnan and Sean Bean working together as they infiltrate this Russian factory. It makes me wish they'd done a whole film together, actually. It's just so entertaining to watch. It's such a shame that Bean has to sort of turn bad in a way. There's the whole jump off the dam, and then you've got, at the end, this plane diving sequence where Bond has to chase after it with a motorbike. You can sort of tell where the back projection is, which maybe stops this one actually potentially winning the competition. But on the whole, though, it's just a fantastic introduction to James Bond, possibly the best introduction for any James Bond actor. Number 4, we have Moonraker, and in this one we've got Roger Moore falling out of an aeroplane without a parachute. What a brilliant idea. And everything you see in this is done for real. These are real guys with parachutes actually in the air doing all that stuff. There's no special effects, no CGI. They're doing it. It's just absolutely fantastic. You've got Jaws showing up unexpectedly for a little cameo. Then we get to see him fall on this circus big top place. I just love this one. Absolutely great. But there are 3 that are ranked ahead of it. What will they be? Well, I can reveal at number 3 we have Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, this one we've got MI6 bickering over this terrorist camp in the mountains and what they're getting up to, and then suddenly Bond appears. He's undercover. He does this whole quip with a cigarette, and then he gets into it, and all hell starts breaking loose. Bond has to steal this plane to get out of there just in time before this rocket can land. And then just when you think that that is it, and that's the end of it, then there's this other plane comes out of the smoke and starts chasing him. Then it's revealed there's a guy behind Bond in his own plane who starts to strangle him. So it's all going down. Everywhere you look, there's something happening. And finally he takes this guy out. He takes both these guys out with kind of the same sequence, because he makes the thing pop out and it hits the other plane. But it's just absolutely fantastic. Right, number 2, we've got The Spy Who Loved Me. I think for a lot of people this will be number 1. This jump that they did off this cliff, it's just the most spectacular thing, and it was all done in one take. That's not a creative decision. They had all these cameras set up, and it just so happens that none of them could get the shot properly. Only this one camera captured it. Otherwise they would have had to have finished this chase sequence in some other way. And believe it or not, it's actually Roger Moore who did the jump. No, not really. But yeah, I mean, this was always going to be extremely high. I did think about making it number 1, but I had to admit there's one I like more than this, and it is Octopussy. Yeah, this, you want an example of James Bond at his absolute brilliant best, it's this. You know, you've got the element of surprise, because we don't expect Bond to get captured like he does 2 minutes into this whole thing. You've got comedy where he's in the back of this truck and he's giving this wink to this guard, like, you know, trying to distract them. And then he makes his escape on this Acrostar, and you're thinking, how the hell is he going to get out of this? There's a heat-seeking missile following him everywhere he goes. He's got no gadgets on this thing. And then, yeah, he flies into this warehouse and comes out the other side. The rocket then follows him and blows up the warehouse. And it neatly links back to the fact that this was the warehouse he was trying to destroy in the first place. It's just brilliant writing. And it is the most incredible pre-title sequence for me. So a well-worthy winner. So that is my number 1, and that is my list. It was very nice to come back and do another James Bond rankings. I think the next one I do after this, I'm not sure when it'll be, but I still haven't done my just ranking the films list. So I think that might be the next one I do. So keep an eye out for that. And until next time, cheerio.